Welcome to another episode of The Modern Moron. You know, I've had way too many occupations for a moron my age, and a good number of those jobs were in the Los Angeles area. In this episode, I catch up with a longtime friend of over 20 years who is originally from Boston. We do some catching up and talk about her son, who has finished his junior year of high school and has already visited some college campuses. You probably know through your own kids, or your grandchildren even, that this process starts way sooner than it did when we were contemplating college back in the day. I mispronounced Massachusetts. We hit the term Hobo phobic, how kids have been and always will be embarrassed and ashamed by the mere presence of us parents, the threats we parents make to get our children to behave. There's a discussion about my intense sweet tooth and a couple of places in New York where you can get really decadent milkshakes. Also, my guest shares her interesting encounter with Snoop Dogg. Yeah, you don't want to miss that, right? That's why I put it at the end. What do you think, I'm some kind of a moron? Thank you for listening to The Modern Moron.
He's almost 18 years old, so I gotta...
But he's not a senior, he's a junior?
He's just finishing his junior year.
Has he decided on a college yet?
No, because you really don't apply till the fall of your senior year. What you do in your junior year, like between spring break and until September, you look at schools and try to figure out where you want to apply, take the SAT, get your essay all ready, and then come September, you shoot off those applications.
What is on his short list?
Well, he really wants to get out of California, so
Okay.
He loves New York.
Mm-hmm.
He liked NYU, Vassar, Wesleyan.
Those are all super expensive schools too, right?
Yeah.
And do you bring that into the conversation at all? Or is it like you just pick what you want for now and let's...
We first want him to find a school, like, I want a small school. I want a campus. I want a huge school. I want a city school. We're just trying to narrow it down.
Got it.
So once he can sort of see more schools and be like, you know what, I really liked the feel of that school, whether it was a small campus or huge with a football team or a city, then we can sort of say, okay, let's focus in on a couple more schools just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, we'll definitely have him look at some UC schools just because it's so much cheaper.
Right. Although California schools are very expensive, aren't they?
If you're in California and you're doing this system, it's not as much as these other schools.
Okay. All right.
But I first need him to figure out what kind of school he sees himself at.
And has he gotten any further down that path? Does he kind of, I want to...
When we went to see a small liberal arts school in New York, outside of New York, he loved it. And when we saw a big city school, he loved it. So I think what he's more attracted to are the programs versus the actual kind of campus. He wants a school that has great theater and science. We're just not sure yet if it's like going to be a city school or pretty little campusy college town school or a small liberal arts, 3,000 people. He's spending the summer in the Midwest at school there. So he'll at least see that.
The whole summer?
5 weeks.
At a school?
At Northwestern.
Oh, hello. Mm-hmm. Heard of it?
Mm-hmm. You've heard of it.
What if he decided on Northwestern? Holy cow.
These schools are so hard to get in, too. It's
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was told, or I read an article or something that said that you should pick 2 or 3 of your dream schools to apply to, 2 or 3 that you like and you think you can get into, and then a couple, like, just in case that you have a higher acceptance rate that you can fall back on, type of thing, and apply to all of those.
Exactly. There's some, kids apply to like 12 plus 8, 9, 10, 12 schools. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they're all hard to get into and it's so competitive. So that's where we're at.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah. He's excited. He's looking forward to it, which is good. And I think he's going to have a really fun senior year and a really fun summer. So I just want the process to be, if it's possible, to be as stress-less as possible, which I
kind of like I wanted this experience to be for you.
Yeah, which so far it has been. Even the microphone situation or whatever it was that we did on the computer thing, that was fine. You know what? After dealing with the college stuff, this was nothing.
Oh, good. And then his brother, what grade is he going to be going into? 10th. He's going to be a sophomore.
He'll be a sophomore. Yeah. So in 2 years, we're going to go down the same path with him.
Are you serious?
Well, then it'll be a little more familiar. And then a couple of years, how about this? And a couple of years after that, you're going to be an empty nester.
I know. You knew these kids when they were babies. It's crazy, right?
So what have you been doing? With your, it's just all college and kids.
It's college and kids right now.
Are you guys going to the Cape this summer?
We're going to Cape Cod. I'm going to go take to Chicago and get him all settled at school there. And then I'll come back and then we'll go to Cape Cod in August. Yeah. All of us, which will be nice. I can't wait. I wish we could go all summer long.
Yeah.
Remember our trip to Cape Cod?
For the wedding?
Yeah. Remember that?
I do remember that.
That was a really fun weekend, though. I had so much fun.
That was pretty fun.
Wasn't it?
Driving all the way out to, that's the only time I've ever been to Massachusetts.
Did you call it Massachusetts with a B?
No, I said Massachusetts. Didn't I say Massachusetts?
It's the only time I've been to Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Here's something a new word for you. So I'm taking my daughter to school this morning and we're having this discussion. She says, "Can't you just drop me off in front of the school? Can't you just drop me off?"
As opposed to walking her in, you usually walk her in?
Yeah. I like to walk her in. I like to walk with her and see her friends. She doesn't want me to do that.
Well, she's getting ready.
It's too embarrassing to be seen with an idiot like me.
10, right? Yeah.
Yes. So I said, it's kind of not about you. I get to walk you in. I like doing that. And she's just looking at me. We're looking at each other. And I pulled over and I see out of the side view mirror that her friend is walking up the sidewalk. And I look out the window when her friend is behind her on the outside of the car. I said, "There's a homeless man right behind you." And she's like, "Oh no." She starts to freak out and then I start to roll the window down behind her for the homeless man. And she freaks out even more and she starts moving towards me and looks over and sees it's her friend who's laughing. And then they both tell me that they're homophobic.
Homophobic or hobophobic?
Hobophobic. I said, "You're what?" Yeah, neither did I. They're afraid of hobos.
Hobos, like Boxcar Willie, who rides on a freight train.
Is there a difference between a hobo and a homeless person?
Well, I think of a hobo as a guy, as like Boxcar Willie, like he
right.
Gets rides on trains to go from,
But that's homeless too, isn't it?
Yeah, but a hobo is different from, I picture homeless of someone in the city streets, and a hobo, I picture like a Halloween costume with a stick and a kerchief and an unshaven cigar.
Did you just say kerchief?
And an unshaven beard, like a 5 o'clock shadow. You know what I mean? Like that's what I picture a hobo.
Hobo is more of a nostalgic term referring to, I don't know, pre-World War II.
Right.
But you could also, today you would call that person a homeless person, wouldn't you?
Yes. I guess so. Maybe.
So I guess hobophobic is similar to being afraid of homeless people, which my daughter is scared of that as well.
Where'd she hear about that? Where'd she hear that word?
I don't know. I just was fascinated that they had come up with this term hobophobic.
There's a lot of words out there that my kids know that I've never heard.
Oh, God. So much stuff.
So talk about like, "Don't walk me in, Dad." One time I must have just been getting dressed or something in the morning. And my younger child said to me, "Please do not wear those overalls if you're going to come pick me up at school today."
They were just too embarrassing.
Yeah.
Did you look like you were a rodeo clown or something?
I always used to wear overalls. And then one time my older son said to me, I was going to the mall or somewhere, and he said, "If you run into anybody that I know, any of my friends, please don't look them in the eye."
Like that scenario really could come up.
I think that, at just a certain point, all we do, no matter what we do, I was like, I'm not so embarrassing. There's so many more embarrassing parents than me. Like, I think I'm pretty cool and fun and nice. And apparently it's just doesn't exist for a preteen, teenager, child that there's nothing you can do.
Well, you were wearing overalls?
Yeah, but lots of people, you say it like it's crazy.
What were you working at Jiffy Lube? Or?
It wasn't like a jumpsuit like I work at Jiffy Lube. It was overalls. Okay. Like people wear overalls.
Of course.
Right.
No, I'm with you.
Well,
I can't. Oh, check this out. And I can send you, I may have sent you a picture. We have a father-daughter dance. And a couple of years ago, the theme was disco. So I wore like a psychedelic patterned shirt and I got out one of my old wigs.
Right.
Had a pair of sunglasses and it was my Austin Powers look. And she had go-go boots on and this mini skirt dress and everything was fine. And we took pictures and I said, "Okay, let's go." And she said, take off that wig. I said, "No, this is part of my costume. I'm wearing." She goes, I'm not going. And there was this huge meltdown over me going out in public wearing a wig.
Well, I mean, come on, think about it. To us who for years have worn wigs, for fun, I think that there's probably not many parents where you are, or even where I am, who really spent a lot of their portion of their lives wearing wigs.
I mean, how many dads in my town have a bag of wigs?
Even at my school, I'm sure there's not many parents who have a little plastic Target dresser drawers full of wigs and costumes. I wore this year on Halloween, I got like at Target this little velvet black witch's dress with like little candy corns all over it. And I had like big orange striped socks, and I put it on. Came to breakfast, drive the kids to school. The little child of mine was like, "Are you kidding me? You are not to go anywhere in that outfit." It's like, it was Halloween. It wasn't like it was just some regular day. Like everyone's dressed.
How old was he at this point?
It was this year. He was 15.
Still, like you are an embarrassment.
Right. How? Oh my God, you're going to wear that? Yeah.
And specifically to make it all about you.
Yeah. It was Halloween.
Yeah. Does dad embarrass him that much? But they probably know that you have the potential to embarrass them even more.
Maybe. I don't think so. But like I said, I still don't think I'm that embarrassing. I mean, it really could be worse. I mean, I see the parents out there. I think they're like,
have you ever threatened that?
To do it worse? Because
I've done that with my daughter. Like, you think this is embarrassing? And then she knows where I'm going. She says, no, never mind.
Yeah. I mean,
have you ever done that?
I'm sure I have. Can't think of offhand, but I'm sure like this is nothing, guys. Do you really? I mean, I do have a drawer full of wigs, so yeah.
What about threats that you've made? Because I know one comes to mind immediately.
That you've made or I've made?
No, that you've made.
When he was really little, and I said, "You'll never eat a brownie again."
Yes.
That one.
What was that over?
Maybe he wouldn't go to sleep or something. And I was like,
he wouldn't get in the car. Be quiet.
One. He wouldn't get in the car. That one. That was the one where he wouldn't get in his car seat. And I said, either I can do it or can do it.
You said that?
Yeah, because he was afraid of you, because you said you are bald and loud. And so he was always afraid of you.
Those two things were terrifying to him.
Yes. I once said to him, if you don't get in your car seat, either I can do it or will do it. And then he got in his car seat.
And I was nowhere in sight. I was nowhere around.
No, we were nowhere nearby at all. No.
I'm kind of honored by that in some.
You never knew that?
Way. No, I think I did. I did know that. But I was thinking more of the time that you threatened that he would never eat a brownie again for the rest of his life.
Well, because he still loves chocolate, and that was always a big thing. I was, you get desperate as a parent. You do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm pretty bad with the chocolate too myself.
You are?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, that's
huge sweet tooth.
Really?
Oh God.
I didn't know that
about 3 or 4 o'clock. That makes me think of.
Why?
He gets a sweet tooth like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Why do you know that?
I remember him telling me, I got to have a chocolate chip cookie. I have to have something sweet. And now he's doing this thing where on YouTube, like take a walk with
hiking. Yeah.
And he was talking to a country Western singer.
Okay.
And they were talking about having a sweet tooth, and was like really interested in that. Like, what is your sweet tooth? What do you like to have? Like, I could tell between that conversation and the conversation I'd had with him once that he's got a sweet tooth.
Well, that's funny because we were just in New York City when I would look at schools, and he was there and with his family. And he was like, hey guys, I know this great place to get milkshakes. And he took us to this place where we have the sickest milkshakes. I should send you a picture of it that I've ever had or ever seen in my whole life. But he was the one who knew about it. So maybe you're right. Maybe that's his.
And I'm with him. I'm the same way. God, what kind of milkshake did you have? See, I want to know.
Oh my God. I'm going to send you a picture of it because I can't even begin. What if I have to pee really quick during this? Could you hold while I pee really quick?
Could you take the microphone with you?
No, my computer's plugged in. All right. Is that all right? I'll be right back.
Yes, go pee.
Okay,
go
pee.
Right back.
That's the dog is here. You can talk to the dog.
What's the dog's name?
Amazing. I'm in the bathroom right now. Can you hear me?
Oh my God, I can hear you.
I'm peeing right now.
I can hear it. Wow. Pretty long one.
Wait, I'm still here. All right. Here I come. Wasn't that fast?
That was great.
Oh, phew.
I'm going to that's going to stay in the show.
Okay. I'm going to send you a picture of the place we went to in New York and what the milkshakes look like, and you'll lose your mind.
Oh, God. It makes me want one right now.
Do you want me to send it to you right now?
Sure.
Okay, let me see. And if the place was, I think he knew the owner, so we got some special treatment there.
And this is in Manhattan?
Yes. And I'm not a sweets person. Here it is.
What's the name of the place? Do you remember?
shoot, what is it called?
Milkshakes in Manhattan?
No, it was called like something that has nothing to do with milkshakes. But here we go. I'm sending it to you right now. I just sent it to you.
Oh my God. Oh, that's a milkshake? It looks like a sundae.
It's a milkshake. It's sick.
That's a pretty that's more of a sundae than a milkshake to
Really?
me.
Do you see the one on the left?
Yeah, it's all chocolate with chocolate
That's
on
all
chocolate.
brownie on the outside, and then inside is milkshake. And see the one on the right? That's all
Yeah.
chocolate chip cookie.
Oh my God.
And that-
What were those, like $30 a piece?
No, because knew the owner. We got everything for on the house.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh boy. Well, that's there are some privileges in
It's
life.
really, really yummy. Have you ever been to Serendipity?
Huh?
Serendipity is a place in New York City where you get frozen hot chocolates. So you get it's basically a milkshake, but you can get like s'mores inside of it. I mean, it's just one of those sick places. It's just, and my older child is a real chocoholic. Wow. So any of those places we have to go in.
Mike, if I'm really going to go to town, it's like a chocolate fudge ice cream with hot caramel on it.
That's your number one dessert. If I was like,
oh God,
tell me your very favorite dessert in all the world, that's what you would say?
Or if I was going to just, sit on the couch and cry
Sure.
and watch soap operas, I would get there's this chocolate mousse tracks, I think it's called.
I know that.
It's like chocolate fudge ice cream with little tiny, what looks like peanut butter cups, but instead of peanut butter, it's caramel inside it. And then I heat up caramel and put that on top of it.
Oh, you freak. That sounds really good.
Yeah, I literally have to lay down afterwards.
How do you feel about, I'm not a sweets person, but there are some sweets that I love. Like I love a really thick, warm cookie.
Ooh.
Chocolate chip cookie or anything chocolate and peanut butter.
Oh, really? Chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah, but I don't.
Now, what chocolate and peanut butter thing would you like besides the obvious Reese's peanut butter cup?
Like a chocolate peanut butter brownie. Sometimes they'll make that. But really anything chocolate peanut butter. I don't love ice cream so much. So it doesn't have to be that. But I'd rather just have a really yummy chocolate peanut butter cookie, like with peanut butter chips in it and chocolate chips in it.
Really?
A thick, gooey cookie.
I could go for that, but the chocolate it has to be like a 60-40 ratio, I think.
About you
got to have a little more chocolate. Huh?
I didn't know you were such a chocolate freak.
Well, I sort of replaced that with what I used to consume a lot of.
I understand.
I've gone to a place. It's just, a soda fountain type place.
Sure.
And I've gotten their super duper size and just eaten the whole thing. And then just I have to sit here for a minute because I'm in a sugar coma.
Yeah. How do you think this is going? This is going good, right?
This is going great.
Now, tell me about your podcast. Like, what are your typical episodes? Is there a theme or is it just,
it's sort of evolving into something, I guess. When I was thinking of doing a podcast, oh God, do you know how many podcasts there are out there?
9 bazillion, I know.
Like over 600,000.
Right.
Do you listen to podcasts at all?
No, I don't know how to get them.
Moron.
That's awesome. So they say instead of casting a wide net, because there are so many and so many people listening to them, that you should be the opposite. You should be super, super specific. I would have a better chance at a good podcast if I did a podcast about Game of Thrones.
I know. Well, because you target an audience that likes that specific
Exactly. And I don't really, the only thing I can think of to target is what I am, which is an old white guy.
Old white guy podcast.
That's what it is. It's called The Modern Moron, and it's just it's old and irrelevant.
It's so good. The Modern Moron is such a great title.
Oh, thank you. I do it because it's fun. Then I'll start getting sort of delusions of grandeur. Like, well, why not? Why couldn't I? Why couldn't I make a couple of bucks at this as a side hobby? And it's like, no, that's probably not going to happen.
You never know.
You never know, but I can't do it for that end goal. Got to do it because I just find people, everyone has a story to tell and anyone has that story to tell. And I see other podcasts like, oh, I think anybody could tell a story. And then at the same time, all they do is have on celebrities.
I know. Well, that's because that attracts people. I agree with you. And I think everybody has a story to tell. And I think everybody could write a book.
Right.
Because everybody's got a story to tell. Just anybody can make their story interesting. It probably is interesting.
Right.
Anybody could write a book.
If you're willing to be vulnerable enough to tell your story, you can have something interesting to share.
Right. There's nobody who's got a boring, like it's purely hostile to present yourself as boring.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody.
It's hostile? Did you say it's hostile?
It's hostile because nobody's boring. Just show us all how interesting you are.
Yeah, but how does that make you hostile?
Because it makes me mad. It's like boring. Like, don't be boring. Nobody's boring. Everybody.
I've had one person on at least half a dozen, probably maybe even a dozen times. I've had a couple of friends come on anonymously that are retired firefighters, and they had a couple of stories to tell.
Oh, that's good.
I've had a few PhDs. I've had 3 people with PhDs on.
Oh, so you've got a whole slew of different types of people.
Yeah, which is good. It interests me, but it's on the downside, it's not specific. I'm just like, I'm all over the place.
What about kids? They got any kids on?
Ironically, the last episode, right before this one, I had my daughter and her friend on.
Oh, that's fun. Because I was going to say maybe my older child might be good on it.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that.
And just get like a teenager perspective on just what it's like to be a
yes.
Yeah.
What's hip? What's not? What do you think? What do you think? We'll talk about politics too, which
oh, good.
I'd never.
Yeah.
Huh?
He would be great to talk about.
Do you ever talk politics?
Yeah, but I don't know much. I just know the most important stuff. Like,
But let me ask you this: Are you paying attention more to politics now than you ever have before?
Ever. I listen to NPR. I watch CNN more than I ever have before. But I also feel like you can't really talk politics and religion with a lot of people. Like, you got to really be careful.
Two of the scientists that I've talked to, I talked to a scientist and I talked to his father. The first scientist I talked to is a master's in electrical engineering. His father is a physicist. And with both of them, the family's from India originally. Now they're over here. And then they practice the Hindu religion. And so I was talking to the dad. First, I was talking to his son about it. And then his dad as well. Like, how does your religious practice kind of fold into being a scientist at the same time? And it was completely fine to them. The one I just talked to, he has a guru that he discusses things with. And I think it's really great to get these scientists talking about spirituality and their religion and all that stuff.
Where'd you find
I
them?
teach improvisation once a year. My ex has me come in and teach improv to these fellows. There's a fellowship, not a fellowship of the rings, but this fellowship of these super crazy smart kids that all have PhDs. And they're going to do work with legislature to advise. It's called the
Wow.
And they know all this stuff. And they're going to go advise different legislators on the impact of science and technology on how it should affect legislature. And so they're all smart already. You can see on paper how smart they are, but do you want to work with them? You want them to get to know you as a person, not just how smart you are. We know how smart you are.
Right.
So it gets to do some improvisational stuff to get them to reconnect with that type of thing.
Oh, that's so cool. That must be really
Yeah, I got a couple of them to do it. And then the one that I talked to, I said, he talked about his father. There's a lot of multi-generational things going on with these PhD folks. A lot of their parents were PhDs. This one is a 4th generation scientist. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. So I feel like I'm being interviewed.
It's such a whole different life, a whole different brain,
yes.
a whole different everything.
Yeah.
But fascinating.
It is fascinating to talk to these folks. But like I said, anybody has an interesting, as long as all I have to do is be willing.
That's right.
To be a little bit vulnerable and share something.
Right.
But not everybody has had their photo taken with Snoop Dogg.
No shit, right? I mean, come on. How about that? And I'm going to see him again this summer.
Wait. Can you tell that quick story? Is it a quick story? Is it too long?
It's not even a story. It's just that, is on the committee of this, and every year they have a big, huge charity event, and they happen to have it at Snoop's compound. So he was there, and I've always had this weird, and I know it sounds crazy knowing me, but I've had this weird connection to Snoop. I don't know what it is, just a weird, like, I see his picture or I hear him talk, and there's some weird past life thing about me and Snoop. I don't know what it is.
Past life thing. Did you tell him that?
No, but I don't know what else it could be. But there he was. We were there, and I was like, oh my God, I have to meet Snoop. So I had a little bit of interaction with him that day from setting up or getting, I don't know, from whatever, and brought me over to him and introduced me to him. And Snoop, put his arm around me and was about to take a picture, and he whispered in my ear, "You make me look good."
How awesome is that?
Oh my God.
And when he said that, what did you feel like?
I couldn't talk.
Did you just melt?
Yes. You see the picture, I'm like clutching onto him. It was the only picture I think I've ever posted on social media where I got every single follower or friend to like it.
She enjoying it.
It was so popular picture.
It's a great photo.
going back in July again, so I'll do one this year too.
I bet he'll remember you.
I doubt it.
Come on. Yeah, come on. I bet he'll remember you, and you'll be able to have a second to say, I feel this crazy, weird connection to you. Just
But
to see if...
everybody must say it to him. And I don't want to...
I don't know. I think he might...
I don't want to be creepy about it. Imagine if some stranger...
Okay, what might you say to him just that's a little out of the ordinary, but not too creepy? Like, what might you say to him?
I think it has to be like, you were my father in a past life.
Yeah, that's not creepy.
No, I don't know. Like, I think that we could be good friends. I don't know there's nothing I could say that doesn't sound creepy or that's been said to him already.
What if you just said something like, how come we haven't had lunch?
Could you imagine if I went to Le Pen Quotidian with him and sat and had avocado toast?
I don't even know what restaurant you just said.
Just that one that's all over. I mean, I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to.
But isn't that one little thing you could say, how come we haven't had lunch? What if you just say that to him?
And see what happens. I don't think I'd want to have lunch. I'd want to like lie in a raft in the ocean and float around with him and just talk if we want to talk and not talk if we don't want to talk.
Well, then why don't you say that?
Could you imagine? I'm not gonna
lie on a raft and float around for a while.
Yeah, like he's on his own raft. I'm on my own raft. We're just kind of floating around.
Okay. Well, he's a follower of this show. And no.
How do you know?
No. I think I have maybe 4 listeners.
4?
2 that I know and 2 that I don't know.
Really? Well,
I don't know.
Let's get you some more listeners.
You know what? I think we're going to check back in later this summer to see how that second encounter with Snoop Dogg goes. Also, the milkshake place we were talking about in New York is called Black Tap. Black Tap. If you might be headed there during the summer, there's one in Soho, another one in Midtown, a couple of blocks from Carnegie Hall. There's even one in Las Vegas and one in Singapore. So there's your milkshake fix. Also, a big thank you to Boxcar Willie and Quincy Jones, who composed Soul Bossa Nova. Back in 1962, that was a song used in the Austin Powers movies. Hope you found something interesting or relatable in there. And as always, thank you for listening to The Modern Moron. We'll see you next time.